Добър ден и от мен. На вашето внимание.
Good afternoon. I'll introduce to you the region of Burgas today and its good practices in working with unemployed of over 50. We are one of the 5 regional bureaus of the Employment Service, covering Burgas, Sliven, and Yambol, a total of 11 bureaus, and for people looking for jobs in 22 municipalities. On the 30th of September, the number of the registered unemployed in Burgas was 30,000 approximately, and it represents 10% of the registered unemployed in the whole country. The age, the sex, and the professional qualification and education are of crucial importance for the realization of the target group of unemployed people registered in the Employment Bureau, and are crucial for the realization on the labor market. The registered unemployed over 50 in the area of Burgas are 35%. What is the profile of the average statistic unemployed registered in our region? This is an unemployed person without qualification or training, 61%. Unemployed 56%, women 57%, continuously unemployed registered in the Labor Bureau over here 53%. The individual approach is the main emphasis in these labor offices for work with these target groups. The persons with good professional characteristics and activity on the labor market, we prepare a portrait, a profile, in which we outline all the positive characteristics of the applicant. The prepared profiles are used for proactive familiarization of the employers with the job seekers. For the person who have various deficits in their professional qualification or health problems or family problems, for them we prepare diagnostics and analysis and continue to work in the areas where it's needed, like group psychological support, psychologists and individual psychologists support. They're supported to look for a job, to cope with stress, and increase their self-esteem. Also, there is individual psychological support for problem identification, coping with personal barriers, and taking decisions for future actions. In the 10 months of 2015 so far, the psychologists in the area of Burgas have held over 660 individual consultations with job seekers and 80 group consultations in which over 760 unemployed participated, including people over 50. Another opportunity is working with the case manager. The goal is to provide access to appropriate social, health, educational, and other services for each specific unemployed person. Long-term employed and low-motivated job seekers are included in workshops, in ateliers for job seeking. These ateliers are have been used as a tool by our bureaus, offices, labor offices. And what do they represent? These are groups of up to 8 job seekers where, with the help of psychology and a labor mediator, everyone reviews a topic selected by him or her. And the ateliers give responses to the people. They give them information that they need. You can see on the slide here some of the topics of this atelier. In 2015, over 520 ateliers were held for over 400 unemployed, including people over 50. In this target group, our main goal is to motivate people for job seeking. This is also the goal of the National Employment Program for Employment and Training of long-term unemployed, which started in May 2015. Successful practice which was introduced in one of our bureaus is the complex approach in providing training and the subsequent subsidized employment, with 90% of the included ones being at the being aged over 50. For participation in this program, 3 employers were attracted who expressed willingness to employ long-term unemployed from this target group after training for acquiring professional qualifications for work in construction and building. As a result, simultaneous training was organized by a training organization of 2 groups, and all persons included in the education completed it successfully and were employed at the places after where the employers had their businesses after the end of the training. 50% of those who were employed were over 50. The experience from the first year for training and employment of long-term unemployed shows that it is key to have an individual approach to the unemployed from this target group, where the motivation process takes longer and requires more skills on the part of our consultants and counselors. We also identified the need of successful partnership between employers and the bureaus of labor seeking.
Their colleague, Sonia Kamenovska, to present the second part of the Bulgarian presentation.
Добър ден на всички.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm extremely happy that I can represent our activities, psychological assistance. Psychological assistance is carried out by permanently employed psychologists. In the activities so far, you were introduced to some of the most essential activities for psychological preparation, but I will speak more about the job centers and about our group training and information of clients who are job seeking and for whom we are trying to find positions on the labor market. One of the activities in the group assistance is group consultation and motivation. Here we turn to the vulnerable groups on the labor market, people aged 50 plus and unemployed, long-term unemployed people. Lately, we visit certain villages and towns where there are people who haven't worked for a long time And there we try to provoke an attitude about work, willingness to work, asking them what works represents for them and what they would like to do. We work with the mayors and with the employers and with the labor intermediators to understand what the local needs are of people and what can be done locally. After we collect this information, we submit it to our regional office or service, and it can be very useful in the employment measures. Another of our activities is job-seeking ateliers. Those ateliers are our own workshop where we teach people how to represent themselves successfully. Our doors are open for everybody. There are a lot of topics we work on and discuss. Anybody can come. Every week we announce our topics. In our job center, we have a lot of applicants who voluntarily come and take part, and they absorb the so-called soft skill mostly, meaning that they work on a topic how to resolve a conflict situation, how to work in a team, and learn to know their own qualities. And from there on, in the group work, they can understand what their own roles are, what is most appropriate for them, and then they can share it when they go to a job interview. Our other activities are quite close to the activities presented by our Korean colleague. These are our motivational trainings where we get together people who are close in their interests, age, social status, etc. We have a lot of training for single mothers, for disabled people with disabilities, and also we may organize special training for the youth, which helps them to find a job. Our motivational trainings are held in the following manner. The first day we create group dynamics. We make our activities positive. We play a lot of role games in order to break the ice so that people feel as friends and not as a group of unemployed people with no value. From there on, we start to teach them with practical exercises, showing what their strong sides are, what their competencies. They list them themselves, and afterwards they can very easily create their portfolio and write their CV Europass after the latest model, and to make an attractive personal individual motivational letter for the specific employer. That's why we say that our employment ateliers are workshops where everybody can write their letters and CVs, and we can help and correct them, tune them according to the needs of the client. On the fourth day, we continue to study, and we even do job interviews, interviews which are very difficult or very brief, because we do not need to teach somebody who wants to do some rural agricultural work, we do not need to extend on certain issues like what do you think about the meaning of life and how do you evaluate yourself. We ask other questions, whether this person can operate more modern machines, because long-term unemployed people have a problem because they lag behind in skills and they can't keep pace with the new technologies. When the motivational group dissolves, the people in it maintain their friendship and in many cases help each other to find employment. Another one of our job center activities is personnel selection with the help of the employers. We are partners with the employers and we can help as psychologists when employers ask for our opinion to make a good psychological profile. We take part in the job interviews, sometimes at the request of the employers, and do specific tests for the qualities needed for a specific activity or business. Also, as an innovative approach in our job center in Russe, we introduced the selection of staff with the help of employer. At the job center, we want to see the people, and before the selection starts, for about an hour, we conduct an atelier for employment, and then we speak about motivation. Then people can relax, they can remember the questions on motivations, what the requirements of the employers are, and hence the interviews are much more successful. This approach now has been affirmed, and the employers look to represent their activities, and our job seekers, our beneficiaries, are happy and visit the presentations without any fears or reservations, bringing their business cards and representing their portfolio. Something else we do for psychological support in the job centers is psychodiagnostics. This is done in the job ateliers and in the motivational training. For psychodiagnostics, I must specify here that we work only in terms of organizational psychology, and we do tests which have been adapted to the Bulgarian environment, professional tests for personal self-knowledge, so that the people can understand from the tests what their motivation for work is, what roles they can perform, what their style of communication is, etc., etc. In our group work, the focus is the person who needs to change their strategy and get out of their status of unemployment. We try to explain the meaning of unemployment, and as in the first months people hope to find jobs, then if they don't find a job, they might become disappointed, demotivated, and not find job at all. As you can see on this slide, and as I already said, everything we do is done in a very practical form and with a very practical goal, with people writing and analyzing their professional history. They realize what their goal is, what their experience is, where they can apply, and whether the job vacancies match their qualities and skills, and whether they are synchronized with their value system. It is important that people know that there are people who will always support them and on whom they can rely. We work with on this in our groups, and we very often provoke our clients. We ask them how they see themselves in 5 years and what they would like to be doing in 5 years. For us, this means planting the seeds of the goals who gradually turn into motivation and subsequently into implementation. Therefore we provoke the motivation for work. We use many practical exercises. Some of them are analysis, self-observation. People analyze their past successes in order to find their inner resource and go forward. They define their positive experience so that they know that in difficult times of unemployment, they can achieve more. They all uncover new sources of information and build their own skill for taking decisions. I would like to say that people over 50 are extremely disciplined, and they have a morale from which we can only learn in many ways. They are professionals and they can be mentors of many young people. I am 50 plus and I feel happy with you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation. Now we already heard about Atelier for Employment and all these instruments using for motivate people who are older workers and who has potential to be active on the labor market for a long period of time. Now it's a time for questions put it by the audience. So I'm turning to you and asking about your reflections and questions. If you have it, feel free to ask our colleagues for what you want to know more detailed in comparison with the presentation. Please, you have an opportunity to exchange your views, not only questioning and reflections, but you can ask everything. Margareta.
I have a question, if I may. For how long can you participate in this kind of program? Is it once and a very limited time, or how do you handle these people who may not succeed immediately?
The program I introduced to you is a national program for long-term unemployed. Besides the over 50 unemployed, we focus on the long-term unemployed as well. So a person might work in the companies of two employers in case those two employers have participated in the program. So with one employer, once.
And for how many weeks? How long period of time? I mean, we heard of Korea 4 days.
Продължителността по програмата е
up to 12 months. Subsidized employment is up to 12 months. Well, the training in this program is carried out by a company which is chosen by the employers, and during the training, the trainees are paid, and also their transport expenses are covered by us.
Thank you for the two wonderful presentations. I just want to find out the transition For one to move, I know that you were presenting a specific program, and therefore all the participants that were enrolled there had already, earmarked areas for training for employment. But in general, how do you link the counseling and then the choice of other programs like active labor market programs, like further training, like any other program that is not within a specified, a specific program like they are long-term unemployed? How do you link the two? I heard that the psychology training is advertised, right? How do you link? Are people profiled and then linked to psychological? To psychological support, or you just advertise and whoever wants to come in then comes in?
Да.
Thank you.
И после аз.
Да. Всяко лице,
Every person who is registered at the labor center gets an action plan. In the action plan, the job counselor, together with the unemployed, work out the steps that are to be covered in order to find a job. So when we work with the trainees for employment skills, our employees work with the unemployed all the time, and we often organize motivation training either at the beginning of the action plan implementation or at the end.